All right, y'all, we're gonna check out this boudoir photographer. Gonna see if their local search and their city search, if they got BSS for either of those searches. We only got one search for them today. We're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city, utilizing our North Star as always, FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, check the pinned post, home video, wherever you're at. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. And if someone's bringing in, their boudoir photography business is rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the left side, the highest intent, all the way to the right side, the lowest intent. Peeps all coming in, or at least becoming aware of their business. And if a boudoir photography business is falling, more than likely some chunk here along this intent spectrum is missing. We're missing out on those people. So over on the left, we got the highest intent people. That's what we're talking about here with these videos, talking about BSS. These are people, social search on social media, and Google search for like boudoir photographers in their city or boudoir photo shoots in their city. And highest intent people, closest to the money, highest conversion. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps, and it's actually going to be the highest volume of people. And we're talking about those on our sister brand called Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, kind of a niche problem there. And currently we're only working with boudoir photographers over there, running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, on to BSS, boudoir search sameness. So this one, a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper. We're dead. At that point, we're dead because we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never make it to page 2. So the people searching never even click to go to page 2. They are page 1 searches only, page 1 searchers only. As a result, this is who we got to get in front of. This is who we care about. We don't care about the 20%. They're going 10 pages deep. Don't care. We care about the 80%, the bulk of the market. So 0 slots, no bueno. 1 slot, also no bueno, because, there's 10 organic slots on page 1. If there's 9 other boudoir photographers, it's basically, 1 slot for each. And guess what? A buyer, everyone looks the same. Buyer's just going to be clicking down through. And, basically price shopping everyone, price comparing everyone, driving the price into the ground. So, we're not even seen as anything special. We got 1 slot on page 1. Buyers don't see much of a difference between us and the other peeps. So it's literally like, we got BSS, we got a problem. And that's because 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Common, yes. Accepted, yes. Not normal, no. It is not normal to have so few number of page 1 links on Google. It's accepted, but it's not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are 1, market saturation, and 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Basically, everyone knows what market saturation is. Seems like every week someone's getting a new iPhone, throwing out their Google My Business profile, throwing out their website saying they now do boudoir photo shoots, competing with us for page 1, ranking on page 1. And then, or someone getting a new camera and then they're posting in the mom Facebook groups that they now do boudoir photo shoots as well. So that's market saturation. Also, big market saturation happened during COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, couldn't work, couldn't earn money, but still need to earn money. And guess what? Everyone's got a smartphone with a great camera on it. So very easy for tons of boudoir photographers to enter the market, which means an increase in supply, increase in sellers. For the same number of buyers, demand remains the same. And guess what? We are making it harder for every buyer or every seller to get buyers if there's more sellers than the same number of buyers. And the biggest thing, though, here's number 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. So this false belief, page 1 equality, is when people incorrectly believe that, every boudoir photographer gets either, 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and when they, basically when they, a new boudoir photographer comes in, maybe they're on page 1, originally they're on page 1, a new boudoir photographer gets ranked above, then they get kicked off to page 2, and they're thinking, oh, that's simply how it is, hopefully that person deletes their website. Maybe Google will put me back on page 1. So it's basically this acceptance that there's not really much that can be done. No, incorrect, false. I know this for a fact. Google will actually give as many page 1 slots to any boudoir photographer who wants them, wants to put in the work to acquire them without paying for Google ads. And I know that because I actually went from 0 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google to 9 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google in 10 days using this new methodology that I invented. So false with page one inequality. The first thing is to realize it's false, and we actually can take as many page one slots on Google as we want, which kind of like punches through kind of this brain box we were in. It allows us to see outside. Oh, and outside we do have one solution finally coming up in 2 pictures. But right now, we know that boudoir photographer BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So yeah, if we got 0 slots on page one, we're disappearing because approximately 80% of the marketplace that searches on Google ain't never finding us on page 2 or deeper. Also, for page one slot on Google Organic, we're basically looking the same as everyone else. It's gonna be price shopped with like 9 other boudoir photographers, driving margins down, and just really screwing everything up for us. So disappearing boudoir photographer, this one they have BSS, and that's because it's the canary in the coal mine. This is the first sign, kind of the first flag that eventually the boudoir photography business will be disappearing down the line as well. But luckily, we now have the solution. So we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology, and we know this because we invented it and we've already used it for ourselves. Now, S cubed methodology, that's exactly what it said. It's exactly its name, social search saturation. We're going to saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, buyer keywords. So we pop up there. So buyer search there, find us first. It's kind of like the backside, the small streams, the small rivers of the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America. And these all flow into the large Amazon River. The large Amazon River is Google page one. So if we successfully social search saturate, then we'll be rewarded with as many slots on page one of Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And as a result, we actually, this is actually the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that's able to stave off and actually allow boudoir photography business to continue to grow without, even in the face of market saturation, even in the face of massive market saturation. Now, the only other thing that could do this is brand, but that takes like 5 to 10 years to, assemble. We ain't got that time anymore. AI is coming to take people's jobs. We literally got to get maximum distribution, kind of a maximum digital land grab now, ASAP. And so, for SQ methodology, outcompeting market saturation, allowing us to continue to grow even in the face of it. Let's say we're in Chicago. There's a million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website saying they're a boudoir photographer, all trying to rank page one on Google, and we are saying, okay, the only way for us to successfully compete is we got to crank SQ methodology to the max. That's exactly what we do. We saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, and we take like the first 300 slots across all social networks for, let's say for those highest intent keywords. Now, let's also say this now flows onto Google, the Amazon River, and we're taking up the first 300 organic slots, Google organic search for those keywords as well. And every page on Google is 10 organic slots. So we're basically working on, taking over 30 first 30 pages of Google. So essentially for anyone to find our competitors, they literally got to scroll 300 places on social search or Google search. They got to go to page 31 on Google search. And dude, if approximately 20% of peeps are going to a Google page 2, basically ain't no one going to Google page 31. And so whenever a buyer searches their high intent buyer keywords, then what happens is we show up everywhere, and basically kicked all of our competitors out of the building. So even though there's a million boudoir photographers in Chicago, whose business is growing? Ours, because we cranked S-cubed methodology to the max, took over all the search real estate, social search, Google search, for the first 300 slots. And like our business growing, everyone else disappeared. They're disappearing. They can't successfully compete with us. And so again, this is why I said this and this happens a lot faster than brand. That's why I said it's the only thing I've seen that can successfully outcompete market saturation and continue to grow boudoir photography business. That doesn't require ads, because ads, their momentum goes to zero once you stop spending. SQ methodology has a momentum to it. It's not infinity momentum, but it's way more momentum than zero momentum once you stop spending on it. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility, a bonus kind of an initial benefit. Get more slots on Google. We're also kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one of Google, effectively making them invisible. They're relegated to page two or deeper. And we already know approximately 80% of boudoir or of Google searches never even reach page two. They're page one searchers only. So we're kicking them 4 out of the 5 buyers anyway in SEO. So that's an initial benefit. In addition to us getting more slots, we're getting price shopped against way less people because 4 out of 5 boudoir searchers ain't going to page two anyway. Approximately 4 out of 5. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. This is where we actually want to, this is where our GBC recommended, we want to hit, GBC recommends a minimum of 3 out of 10 Google page one slots. So 3 out of 10. And as a result, we feel like that's where we can comfortably say, all right, well, most likely at least treading water here, maintaining, most likely not disappearing. And the highest probability is we're actually growing the business once we're getting 3 out of 10. And 3 out of 10, if everyone else is one slot, man, a boudoir buyer seeing us with 3, they're gonna be like, why does Google keep recommending this person over and over and over again? They may only click us and not even click any of our competitors on that search. And then there's always a tiny, tiny, tiny chance someone will have 2 slots. So if we get to 3 out of 10 slots, we're good. It's basically like, if we get 3 out of 10, we're basically dominating 99.9% of all cases. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So it's our full universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, previously unknown false belief, page one equality. But finally, thankfully, we have a solution. Thank the universe. We got SQ methodology now. We achieve page one visibility, and we become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. So it's our micro universe here. Now we're going to check out my results using SQ methodology. So I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So I went and I used SQ methodology, social search saturation. And see, organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I did this in 10 days, went from 0 out of 10 slots Google page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1. And this was purely using our S-cubed methodology. All right, main event here. You can see that this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local and city search, but it looks like they got one search here. So we're combining the local and city. We're also going to see if they hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google search. All right, so DeLand, Florida. All right, so, all right, we're here. All right, we got one slot. And yeah, one slot. Two slots, okay. Now boudoir's in kind of the body text, smaller. But all right, we'll give you 2 slots here. All right, so we got 2 out of 10 slots, so good. So we do not have BSS, boudoir search sameness. We got 2 out of 10 slots, but we did not hit the recommended GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots in our search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done local search for the highest intent buyer keywords in your city, and you saw in your local area, and you did a second search in your city, and you saw that you actually do have BSS in one or both of the cities, or you saw that you did not meet the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots, and you're saying, oh, finally, thank the universe, something to finally solve this. SQ methodology is here, so you decide you want to use SQ methodology, and that's because you know page 1 equality is a false belief, which allows you to even look for a solution in the first place. And once you do that, you like the initial benefit, more slots on page 1. You like the other initial benefit, kicking more competitors off of page 1, so that way fewer, your price out against way fewer number of boudoir photographers. And you understand the market saturation. Yeah, there's two prongs. People get a new iPhone, cool, more boudoir photographers. People get a new camera, cool, more boudoir photographers. But you're actually thinking of this new third prong. You're thinking ahead. You're saying, okay, AI is taking a few people's jobs now. It's going to keep taking more and more people's jobs into the future, into the future, into the future. And as it takes more and more people's jobs into the future, into the future, into the future, you actually, you actually want to fortify your position on page one, prepare for the onslaught of new boudoir photographers, be a force to the market because look, people still got to earn money. If they lose their job, they still got, dude, they got a phone with amazing cameras. So we know people will be, new boudoir photographers will always be entering. And so you want to fortify your position, kind of like the levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because that city's like below sea level. So they got to throw the levees up, extra fortification, so they don't get flooded. So you're seeing that, and you actually saying, okay, SQ methodology can also use for exactly that, fortifying existing presence, page one, and across all social search. And you actually want to have page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, and achieve boudoir search visibility because you need those things in order to become the number one boudoir photographer in your city. And you also like the extra back-end things that SQ methodology does, where if you successfully execute it every day, you're increasing the probability every single day. Well, we execute it every day. That AI overview will recommend you. And that's because when we do SQ methodology, we're actually building these invisible thematic keyword columns for AI search to take in, kind of occupy more and more AI mind space or brain space in all these different AIs. So we're building different invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of like columns with Parthenon, Athens, and Greece, or like hub and spoke, like a bicycle tire, or where the hub in the middle, or at least our business name across all socials and our website is the hub in the middle. And as we build these up more, we got more frequency, more authority, more relevance, more age. So all these increase the probability of us being recommended for the premium placement AI overview, and us being recommended in all the AI search platforms, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. And as a result, kind of this like invisible momentum we can build up. And you're saying you decide you're going to be the first one in your city to do this because, that my current plan right now is to work with only one boudoir photographer at a time. So you can actually close out all your competitors from doing this, get all these initial benefits, build up this invisible momentum, put a massive gap between you and the current boudoir photographers, and especially the future boudoir photographers that will eventually become boudoir photographers as AI eats more and more jobs. And you also know doing SQ methodology also supremely speeds up forming your own brand. So it helps compete against current market saturation, and doubly so, helps your brand become a household name way faster. My estimate is probably 8 times faster than traditional ways. Just because, dude, we're everywhere all the time. Social search, Google search, AI search. Just people won't be able to get away from us. And on the flip side, you see that if another competitor, if one of your competitors in your city works with me, and we do all those things for them, they get all those initial benefits, and the momentum built up for the secondary later on benefits, then what actually happens is there's a big gap between me and your competitor and then you. And to close that gap, you got to increase the, well, first you got to rederive or derive for yourself the first time SQ methodology, how it actually works and how to successfully implement it. And then you got to go execute it day, and equal our effort. And if you do that correctly, well, you're never going to be 100% confident executing it because you'll never be 100% confident you've derived it correctly. But even if you're equaling all our effort, you're simply maintaining the gap between me and your competitor and you. And so to outcompete us, you got to rederive it correctly, figure it out all correctly, and then you got to out execute us by like 2 or 3x. And it's like, dude, who's got the 80 hours in the day to do all that? So you decide to screw that. It's better for you to actually be the first mover in your city, lock out all your competitors from using this, and kind of roll this to victory. So if that's you, shoot me a DM when my DMs open. My DMs are currently closed. The hospital is currently closed to new patients. But when I do open my DMs, shoot me a DM, and we will see if you qualify to utilize S-cubed methodology.